On the third day of eChristmas, my true love said to me, hello and welcome. My name's Nathan Lomax, co-founder of Quickfire Digital.
Hello everyone, I'm Gav Willis and I'm from Search 7.
Today we're going to bring you our latest episode from our new campaign, the 12 Days of eChristmas.
Hope you enjoy it. There's going to be loads of tips, loads of advice, getting you ready for 2021.
Today I'm delighted to be joined by Rich Ball from Reviews.io. Rich, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the invite.
No problem at all. Thanks for joining us. I can't wait to dive into this. But before we do, I must introduce my good friend and Rudolph impersonator, Gav Willis. Gav, how's things?
I'm good. I'm very well. I'm getting very hot in this outfit. Hi, Rich.
Hey, you must be boiling.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, guys, we've got about 15 minutes. We're going to go into everything about Reviews.io. Before we get started, it's clear that social proof is so important, and reviews are absolutely going through the roof, and few do it better than Reviews.io as a platform. So I'm so humbled to have Reviews.io with us today. Gav, over to you, sir, in terms of the first question, but we've got 7 quick fire questions. 7, search 7, quick fire, genius.
Like it.
Let's whiz through. Let's get as much insight from Rich as possible for the audience, and then we'll see how we get on.
Perfect. Well, cheers, Rich, again for being on the show today. I'm going to kick things off with a question one for you. So tell us a bit more about you and your role at Reviews.io, please.
So my role is marketing manager at Reviews. I work quite closely with the user experience team and also content. I'm generally responsible for most content that goes out. So naturally, I'm going to have to work closely with sales, support teams, listen to those questions that are coming through and making sure that, we've got every bit of information up to date because everything's changing at a rapid pace. We need to make sure the content's on key. And then obviously making sure, traffic's coming in and we're looking at spaces and trends and we're reacting as fastly as we can.
That's awesome. As a personal partner of Reviews.io, I know the great work that you guys do, but I'm keen to share with the audience, in the run up to Christmas, what new kind of enhancements or things being launched have we got from Reviews.io that the audience can look forward to?
Yeah, well, Christmas came early for us. If you're familiar with the reviews tool, we invest heavily into social proof, and we ran video calls like this ourselves, and we listened. We asked the question about what they're using the most, and 9 times out of 10, most people were saying the social proof factor, and the biggest pain for them was that it was limited. We essentially wanted to create a tool that was quick for brands to pick up review content and make shareable content from it, and that's like combining text reviews with images or just sharing images themselves. And we had that tool, but it was limited to the extent of we could bring 2 things together. And now that we've created an editor that essentially allows you to curate any sort of graphic you wish with the means of pre-designed templates that, again, we wanted to ensure that it can be produced at a fast pace because we know how quick it is. We know it's a big investment to design certain things for time, but we just needed to make sure that we keep pushing that tool because we knew how widely it was used. We knew that social proof was being used in the marketing space, but people didn't really know how to create it. So we wanted to remove that headache and adding a tool that allowed them to do it quickly and efficiently and of high standard as well.
That's brilliant, Rich. I was going to say, obviously creating a tool to kind of cater for people's needs is superb. And obviously this year's been quite a tough year. So in terms of kind of online behaviours, how have you seen that change?
Oh, massively. Obviously, with certain circumstances, the biggest change isn't necessarily the behaviours, it's just the sheer scale of it. So we've just seen numbers grow and grow and grow. We've seen companies go from 0 to hero in the matter of months for the sheer fact that they offered a service that was purely online. With that came a lot of information. So people are starting to become a lot more wary of the content that's being pushed in front of them, reviews that they're having to read. So again, it comes back to the social proof factor to give that authenticity to the review content that they're reading, and to sift through the sort of sort of volume of content they're having to get through, and whether to know that it's an honest bit of content or whether it's not. So for brands, it's really been a case of, sharing as much as possible, but giving them the tools to improve that authenticity through the content as well.
Rich, I'm really interested to see, obviously social proof has been the kind of the new player in 2020 and certainly really taken the market by storm. Where do we expect reviews to go in 2021, 2022 and onwards? What does the future of reviews for a customer and also as a retailer look like?
Yeah, so it comes down to content again, but probably in the means of video content. You've seen the boom of TikTok, any sort of video platform at the minute, it's just going crazy. IGTV has been launched this year, and that's just going off. More and more content's being added. The whole transition from the timeline to video content's going that way as well for Instagram. So for us, it is more video reviews. We launched video reviews this year, and the uptake of that has been massive. And again, it comes down to that authenticity of the review content itself. You couldn't get something more authentic than a video review, as opposed to text reviews where you can have machines and factories just churning them out to give you a good score. It's undeniable, a video review. So we've just seen that increase, and as a brand, we've really got to push ourselves to make that more available, more accessible, making sure that when you do get review content, that sort of video quality, that they have the tools that can download it, share it, again with the social proof factor, making sure that it's so easy to sort of pick it up and share with your customer bases, whether it be on our review platform or on their own website. They've got to be showing it in multiple locations, because shops have gone beyond it just being a website. It's a multi-channel shop, so you need to ensure that you're hitting every avenue with this visual content.
That's great, Rich. And you talk about the website and the user experience, and obviously, this year, mobile eCommerce has boomed. Obviously, more people on their phones, and the stats kind of don't lie. In terms of how you see mobile commerce continuing to grow next year, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's something that hasn't stopped growing for the past decade, I think. More and more people are just looking at having that split between how many sales are made through a mobile device and how many are made from a desktop device. I think it's got a lot bigger than that now. I think we all know that mobile devices are going to contribute to a large percentage of those sales. But it's also about multi-channels now. So ensuring the channels you're being positioned in are mobile, they're all mobile friendly, and the content that you present to them is mobile friendly. So I think if you're not looking mobile first, you're definitely going to fall short in sales, in revenue. Everything needs to be mobile first, and then the desktop secondary. There's been a discussion about which one you should do first. I think now it's a safe bet to say yes, mobile. If you're not optimizing content for mobile, then again, it's not going to give the user experience a positive one.
Yeah, over the years, Google have not been shy in saying about mobile first and making sure that's that seamless kind of user experience. So it's definitely the way it's going, isn't it, in terms of the way everyone's kind of optimizing their products and their websites to make sure they're thinking about mobile first, really.
Yeah, definitely. For Google especially, you just look at their Google product listings. They're now competing with Amazon. They're offering product listings for free. And you just look how they display, and they display so well for mobile, and the shopping experience is really good. The desktop experience isn't all that great. I can see a transition or an improvement there, but I can tell already they're invested heavily in making sure that Google experience is sharp and on point before they even approach the desktop version.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting when it comes to build, we've found that actually it was always a desktop first experience. It's now been the vogue to go with the mobile first experience. And now what we're seeing is actually a relevant experience to no matter what device or platform. So actually mobile gives a great experience, but so does desktop, and none should be neglected or treated as the kind of poor relation, if you like. They should all have a relevant and dedicated experience. Outside of reviews, Rich, I'm keen to understand from you, having your ears close to the ground in this space, what do we think is going to be the biggest change or emerging trend in 2021 when it comes to e-commerce as a whole?
Again, as a whole, it just comes probably as a whole. For reviews, it's again authenticity. We know that already. But as a whole for e-commerce, it is that multi-channel. People have stopped developing apps, apart from the big sort of players that want that sort of cult culture where they only shop within 2 stores. I think with brands, small brands, medium, small and medium, are really looking for those multi-channels. If you've only got a website, then you really should be looking at where else you can sort of make sales. It needs to be. You need to be positioned in micro environments. If you're not positioned in any micro environments, you're going to fall short because your competitors and everybody else is doing it. They're making sure that they're not just listing in Google Ads, or they're not just listing their products in their own website. They're pushing them in every channel possible, small or large. Like it's a case of making sure that to be seen, to sell products, and if you're not in those environments or those ecosystems, then you're going to be missing a massive opportunity.
It's interesting, Rich, because that omni-channel approach where you're going across multi-platform, and it might be in store, it might be on social, it might be then on website itself, it might be in marketplace, for example, all great ways to market. The challenge is around consistency, right? And we need to make sure that someone's not going in store and getting a experience, they're then going through social and getting a different experience, and then they go onto the website and get a third experience. So I think, yeah, certainly I agree that actually the way in which 2021 looks to be heading is certainly around that consistency across omni-channel, as opposed to putting all your eggs in one basket. And I mean, we see the horrific closures, and when you look at the Arcadia Group and then you look at Debenhams, and actually those pure play e-commerce stores are absolutely booming. But I still think there's a place for omni-channel, and bricks and mortar will always have their place in retail. But it's just understanding at what part does that play, and how do you engage with customers multi-channel as opposed to relying on one platform.
Yeah, like just to pick up on that point, it's about being reactive. If a new system pops up tomorrow, you need to be reactive to get onto it. You look at the likes of Debenhams and the Arcadia umbrella, is that they were. Philip Green was known for being too slow to react, and it was ultimately his downfall. And for the Arcadia Group, so when you look at brands, emerging ones as well, they're so reactive. They're on Shopify that as soon as a new channel is available, they're onto it the next day, and it's all about being reactive. Like it shows just for the year 2020 that if you can't react, you're going to fail. So it's essential that that when you are putting processes in place, you need to have a contingency to say, well, if it fails, how do we react? If it succeeds, how do we react? How do we do more? It's all about being quick, fail fast. Don't hold on to something for too long, because ultimately it is going to die. So you need to be as reactive, as responsive as possible.
Rich, that's really sound advice. And I guess, Gav, you see that in the search and kind of paid search world as well, right? In terms of agility and the nimble effect that smaller brands can have in terms of very quickly rolling out a new campaign without having to go through hierarchical lines of middle management, etc., to say, can we get them signed off? Can we get this campaign launched? Actually, a trend comes, it's spotted, it's identified, and you rolled something out the next day to piggyback on the back of that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as Rich says about evolving and adapting, with kind of paid media, you can be so instant. You can kind of get a new campaign live and up and running within 5 minutes. So to be strategic and proactive, great, but then things will always change, and you need to react to that as quickly as possible and put in place the best strategies to kind of react to how things are changing and to give that best experience to your audience.
Gents, I've really enjoyed today. I think we've got time for probably one more question, Gavin. I leave this one with you. Arguably the most important question of the whole session.
It's a big one. It's a big one. I mean, Rich, I know earlier you spoke about processes and getting things right. So now it's all about the process of writing out that Christmas list to Santa. And what would be number one present from you on that list?
A beer at a pub.
What a perfect way to end. And actually, I think anyone listening can relate to that, right, Rich? So the whole lockdown one, that took its toll on so many of us. We finally get out. We then get put into lockdown 2. I don't know about you guys in the different tiers, but certainly for us, it's tier 2, which means you can go to the pub with your other half, but essentially it's still limited mixing in groups. And so actually having normality or a life back would be a wonderful thing for Christmas.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it will be.
Rich,
thank you so much for today.
If people want to find out about reviews.io, get involved with the platform, kind of get it integrated into their Shopify store, etc., where can they do this and how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me personally on LinkedIn. But for reviews, just head to our website. We've got business solutions pages. Obviously, if you go to reviews, it's a consumer-based website initially because we're providing reviews and feedback for our customers. But check out the business solutions pages. We've got some great features that you can read upon, learn more. And the biggest part of reviews for us is, as we said before, we're ensuring that we're in every micro environment possible. So our integrations are first and foremost. So we integrate into pretty much every big shop platform. And if we don't, just let us know which one you want to integrate with, and we'll look to support you.
So check it out, guys. Reviews.io. Connect with Rich on LinkedIn. That's Rich Bull from Reviews.io. Rich, it's been a massive pleasure to have you on today. Thank you for coming along and representing Reviews.io. For everyone listening, I hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you next time on our 12 days of eChristmas. Thank you very much.